Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Yapyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vedya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Jai Guru. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So where are we in our text?
Chapter 47.
Chapter 47.
Watch your mind.
Yeah. I saw it go by.
Whatever you may have to do, watch your mind. Also, you must have moments of complete inner peace and quiet when your mind is absolutely still. If you miss it, you miss the entire thing. If you do not, the silence of the mind will dissolve and absorb all else. Questioner. In one's search for the essential, one soon realizes one's inadequacy and the need for a guide or a teacher. This implies a certain discipline because you are expected to trust your guide and follow implicitly his advice and instruction. Yet the social urgencies and pressures are so great, personal desires and fears so powerful, that the simplicity of mind and will, essential in obedience, are not forthcoming. How does one strike a balance between the need for a guru and the difficulty in obeying him implicitly? Maharaj, what is done under pressure of society and circumstances does not matter much, for it is mostly mechanical, mere reacting to impacts. It is enough to watch oneself dispassionately, to isolate oneself completely from what is going on. What has been done blindly, without minding, may add to one's karma. Otherwise, it hardly matters. The Guru demands one thing only: clarity and intensity of purpose, a sense of responsibility for oneself.
Let me stop there if I may. So when I first met Swamiji in 1975, there was a lot of newness about Eastern teachers coming to the West and lots of gurus around. And there was an idea that many Westerners had where the guru became what some psychologists call in loco parentis. Is this a term that's even used anymore?
I haven't heard of.
In place of the parent. So when you're a child, what you do is obey your parents, with the fear of withholding love or the fear of punishment. They tell you what to do. Honey, you have to get up and go to school. Honey, eat your broccoli. No, you can't have ice cream. So when we're young, our parents micromanage our lives. And that's appropriate for a parent to do for a child. But the surrender that the scriptures talk about to the guru is not the same. Let me give an example. And I'm sure you've seen this, Natasha. When I was at Amaji's ashram in 1994, people were coming from all over the world, but the vast majority actually were Indians. And they would wait days there at the ashram to get in line to come up and see her. Many wanted to ask her a question. Is it still that way?
Yeah, they don't have to wait days usually, but yeah, they get in line to, and many of them want to ask a question.
And the questions were frequently, oh, should I go into business with so and so? Should my daughter marry this fellow? So they would use her as a fortune teller. And I'm sure she gave the best answer that she could. And when I first met Swamiji, he did not micromanage my life. And many times I say, Swamiji, what do you want me to do? And he would say, I have no desires. And it would frustrate me until I realized he was telling me what to do all the time. Watch your mind. Discriminate between the self and the not self. Let go of your attachments and identifications. Work with no sense of agency. In other words, as he was breaking open the scriptures, which is our tradition, it was full of instructions. But it wasn't things like, should I marry this person? Or should I buy this house? Or silly worldly things. So how many people, for example, come to Amma? Amma, how can I be free from suffering? I bet it's few. So part of the issue was learning how to ask the right questions. Now, we have two marvelous examples of the right questions. One from Vivekachudamani and another from Yoga Vasishta, from scripture. From Vivekachudamani, the 7 questions that the Shisha asked the Guru. What is bondage? How has it come about? How does it continue to exist? How do I get out of it completely? What is the not self? Notice the change of pronoun now. Who is the real self? And what is the process of discrimination between the two? And the Guru says, Guruji, you're asking the right questions, finally. Really doesn't say it that way, but it's close. In Yoga Vasishta, we get 3 questions. Who am I? What is this world? And how has it come about? These are proper questions. but it takes a level of spiritual maturity to ask those questions. Any thoughts or remarks or comments on this incredibly important point? All right.
Just one thought is
Yes.
just about the whole Shraddha. Um,
For those who may not know, Shraddha means faith.
right, so like if, so I think it was talked about a few chapters ago where we were, it's like, like the difference between the parent. Like relating to the parent versus the guru. It's like with the parent, it's obedience because of, like, as you described. And then with the guru, I think the feeling is different. If like one wants to cultivate the different feeling because you're doing it because there's this extreme faith in what the guru says and the teachings of the scriptures, and so that's the motivation. So it's not like because of a threat, it's more because of a yearning.
Yes. And it can take time for many of us
Yeah.
to develop trust and then to be able to have faith that's based on that trust.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the opposite idea, you need to also have a good bullshit detector. Because there are all sorts of people out there in India and in the West who set themselves up as a spiritual authority. And maybe their intentions are very good, but they pass on their partial understanding of the truth. Someone was telling me about, I saw YouTube on this one teacher, she called herself Mother God. They did lots of LSD, and everybody had a spiritualized ego, like someone else was Father God and someone else was Zeus. And, then it was as if the individuality was some sort of godly thing. And lots of alcohol, lots of drugs. And she became very ill and died at 44, unhappy and alone. So, people can have all sorts of experiences that they then put a lot of shraddha, faith in.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys, I don't know if you guys come in contact with all sorts of hippie woo-woo stuff anymore. But let me give you what the tradition says about where you should put your trust and faith. If the teaching is in alignment with what Shruti says, what do the Upanishads say? They are our primary authority. Then the recorded wisdom of the great saints and sages through the ages. Ramana Maharshi says it's true, it's true. Amma says it's true, it's true. Chinmaya said it's true, it's true. Krishna, Ramakrishna. Then your own logical reasoning, real spirituality does not demand that you believe in something that's unreasonable. What was the name of the Heaven's Gate people? There was a spaceship behind a comet, remember them? And they all ended up committing suicide so they can get on board the spaceship. Remember them?
No.
It's crazy. It's just crazy. Fellow castrates himself so he doesn't want to have a sex drive. I mean, just Looney Tunes. It does not meet logical reasoning or the other praman, the other means of wisdom, the other authorities. Then if your own direct experience lines up with that, then you can trust it. Is that useful? I heard a thought.
Yeah, my thought is, it makes sense for teachings that purport to take us to the ultimate, but then there are these kind of what I see as like mid-level teachings that are about like energy or um like more on the level of body mind. And
Mhm.
it's hard to, I mean, I don't know if it's even relevant because the scriptures talk about the highest, but how do we apply, like, how do we
That's
create
a-
a bullshit detector? for
That's
that
very
level
good.
of-
So one of the things in terms of those teachings that are also in the Vedas, by the way,
Mhm.
and in other scriptures, one of the things that India has done over its millennia of practice is it's all rooted in empirical experience. If it works, it tends to stay around. If it doesn't work, it tends to drop away. Unfortunately, that's not the methodology in the West. In the West, we frequently will have like a religious conviction about something, and then when science, for example, contradicts religion, science gets thrown out. Latest thing is the abandonment of mRNA vaccine research.
Mm.
What a tragedy. What a tragedy. Anti-science. But this is a science. So, for example, in energy work, a lot of people currently are coming up with new ideas and ways of dealing with energy. Some of it may be valid, some of it may not be. But the Kriya traditions within the Raja Yoga tradition are pretty well grounded and grafted. Pranayama, how to move and work with energy. It's based on people's experience. Um, is that making sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I tend to be pretty mistrustful of anybody who decides to make up their own yoga. And that doesn't mean they may not even be a realized soul. And are there aspects of the tradition that maybe we ought to let go of? Well, a lot of the things that we have about social structure, the caste system, we just know better now. Things around sex. A lot of people don't realize the incredible social impact of the birth control pill. Prior to the 60s, sex meant babies. And if you're going to have babies, you have to have responsibility for them. So a whole societal moral structure was based on that very definite principle. It's not quite the same anymore. So there are movements that do happen because things change. You're in the mental health field. Does anybody really do Freudian analysis anymore? Do they?
No, not in the purest form.
Yeah. There may be some. But it is a science and it's developing. The thing is, Western psychology is incredibly young. I mean, I don't think until Freud they even knew there was a subconscious or an unconscious.
Mm.
Where it's a, Shankara deals with it exhaustively 1,300 years ago.
Mm.
So I look, for example, at the very famous situation where Galileo, he didn't invent the telescope, but he was the first to take comparatively powerful telescopes and not look at warships out at sea, but point it at the sky. And he discovered the moons of Jupiter. And he considered that a verification of the Copernican theory that the planets revolve around the sun, not around the earth. And when the doctors of the church came, he says, but look, we don't need to look. We see with the eyes of faith. And they arrest him. So this is a wrong use of faith. Is that making sense? That's why we always have those four pramanas. I think of Osho. I don't know if he was a realized man. No reason to doubt it. But he did make up his own yoga. I don't know how effective it's been. But I know a whole lot of people got in a whole lot of trouble practicing Osho's yoga. A lot of people got their hearts broken. There were a lot of pretty cuckoo people with violence and stuff like that. Yeah, karma. I don't know if this is answering your question.
Kind of. Mhm.
But in the sense of if the energy work you're doing is efficacious, why not trust it? But if it's just making people get high and nothing really changes. I can remember one of my students who I can't remember if it was ayahuasca or LSD. She did it over a weekend and I resolved all my issues with my parents. Well, I hope that was true. But my experience is 6 weeks later, you're still hating on your mother. These things are incredibly temporary.
Mm.
They can be illusions. So you want to be a spiritual scientist. You want to be empirical about it. And what I recommend is over a significant period of time, what is the definition of a valid spiritual experience? It means I can think, I can do, I feel differently than I did before on a relatively permanent basis. Doesn't mean I've had a peak experience. And I come down and I'm the same miserable creature. Now, if as the result of that peak experience, I have transformation, great. But these are things you can only begin to analyze over a period of time, not days, weeks, months, years. Um, Again, don't know if this has answered your question. All right, any other stuff? So I talk about 3 things you want to be mindful of when you come in contact with a spiritual teacher. The first, do they want your money? Be very careful. 2, do they want to have sex with you? Or they want to have sex with other people? That is a pathological, toxic power dynamic. 3, do they want to micromanage your life? Are they there in the weeds of your everyday life and, Baba said to do this, no, Baba said to do that, and you've lost all of your own self-authority. And the main thing in your relationship with the Guru, when you leave your interaction with them, do you have a deeper insight into your own self nature? That's the job of the Guru. It's to turn your mind back on your own self. If what you've left with is, oh, Guruji is so fabulous. Oh, Guruji is so fabulous. That does nothing to free us. May open our hearts a bit to learn love. All right, going on.
The Guru demands only one thing: clarity and intensity of purpose, a sense of responsibility for oneself.
Yes.
The very reality of the world must be questioned. Who is the Guru after all? He who knows the state in which there is neither the world nor the thought of it. He is the supreme teacher. To find him means to reach the state in which imagination is no longer taken for reality. Please understand that the Guru stands for reality, for truth, for what is. He is a realist in the highest sense of the term. He cannot and shall not come to terms with the mind and its delusions. He comes to take you to the real. Don't expect him to do anything else. The Guru you have in mind, one who gives you information and instructions, is not the real Guru. The real Guru is he who knows the real, beyond the glamour of appearances. To him, your questions about obedience and discipline do not make sense, for in his eyes, the person you take yourself to be does not exist. Your questions are about a non-existent person. What exists for you does not exist for him. What you take for granted, he denies absolutely. He wants you to see yourself as he sees you. Then you will not need a Guru to obey and follow, for you will obey and follow your own reality. Realize that whatever you think yourself to be is just a stream of events, that while all happens, comes and goes, you alone are, the changeless among the changeful, the self-evident among the inferred. Separate the observed from the observer and abandon false identifications.
Let me stop there. Separate the observed from the observer. Here he is implying the fundamental Vedantic practice that we do all the time. Discriminate between the real and the unreal, the self and the not self. I am not the body. I am not the prana. I am not the feelings. I am not the thoughts. I am not the ahankriti, the ego sense. I'm not even the nescience of deep sleep. Who am I? Satchidananda Rupa. My form is pure existence, consciousness, and in the beginning, no sorrow reaches there. the witness of everything. And what is this world? Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Consciousness alone is real. The names and forms, the Jagat, is illusory. It's illusory. Maintaining that mental intention. That's what he's implying. Going on.
Questioner. In order to find reality, one should discard all that stands in the way. On the other hand, the need to survive within a given society compels one to do and endure many things. Does one need to abandon one's profession and one's social standing in order to find reality? Maharaj, do your work. When you have a moment free, look within. What is important is not to miss the opportunity when it presents itself. If you are earnest, you will use your leisure fully. That is enough.
Let me give you an example. So I have a fellow with whom I'm working, and his whole family are devotees of Meher Baba, great 20th century saint. And so he has elected to move back to Myrtle Beach, which is where there's a Baba community. And his intention is to pray and to meditate, work on his music, get deep in his spirituality. But as he's been putting out things on social media, so there's this one place that says, well, you can rent it for $1,000 a month until February. And then this other place, it's a 2-bedroom condo for only $1,200. And you know, his greed comes in. Oh, I want this fancy apartment. And then he's going to be working there at the retreat center for $15 an hour.
Mm.
Do you see the problem here? And he hadn't even thought about crunching the numbers. Well, full time is 30 hours there. So we got out my little calculator and, you know, he's maybe got $200 a month left over for food as long as there's not an emergency, you know. Oh, but then I can work 40 hours a week. And then if I need to, I can get an outside job. And then I was saying, and what about your time for prayer and meditation and working on your music and all the reasons for which you're going to Myrtle Beach?
Mm.
Do you see what his mind was setting up? Working 50, 60 hours a week, pushing a broom, making beds for minimum wage or close to it. That's your sadhana? Knock yourself out. It's your choice. But why not look for a room in somebody's house for $300, $400 a month? So it's amazing how ego will subvert our intention.
Mm.
Any thoughts going on?
If you are earnest, you will use your leisure fully. That is enough. Questioner. In my search for the essential and discarding the unessential, is there any scope for creative living? For instance, I love painting. Will it help me if I give my leisure hours to painting? Maharaj, whatever you may have to do, watch your mind. Also, you must have moments of complete inner peace and quiet when your mind is absolutely still. If you miss it, you miss the entire thing. If you do not, the silence of the mind will dissolve and absorb all else. Your difficulty lies.
Let me stop there. Let's talk about nirvikalpa samadhi. So the scriptures extol samadhi. They describe it in a variety of ways. Most say that state where the distinction between knower, knowing, and known is gone, where there's no longer any sense of individuality. It is like sleep. In sleep, there's no ego, there's no world. But in sleep, the mind is still covered by pure ignorance. In samadhi, even that is gone. Why is samadhi important? I may intellectually grasp that I am Brahman. But as long as spiritual ignorance exists in the mind, the first fruit of spiritual ignorance is jiva bhavana. I think I'm a person. Once I think I'm a person, then the world starts to seem real and important. That state of jiva bhavana, feeling like I'm a person, the term I've been using lately is it has a quality of spiritual impoverishment. I'm not enough, there's not enough. In order to be okay, I either need to fix the world or I need to fix me. And then the element after that is what we call kartavya, obligatory action struggle. So that jiva bhavana, that ahankriti, sets the whole train of samsara going. In samadhi, the world disappears and the individuality disappears. So you have the direct experience. Oh, what I am is witnessing consciousness. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Not I'm a realized person. I am Brahman. Then when the mind returns from samadhi, it is transformed by that experience. Listen carefully. The self doesn't get realized. Or we were talking about Meher Baba. He used to say, everybody's already realized. How do you know you are you? You really do not see, hear, taste, touch, smell, emote, or think yourself. Yet you do not doubt that you are. How do you know you are you? You are, in fact, Swayambhu, self-evident. Swayam Jyoti, self-effulgent, self-luminous. The self is its own means of knowledge. But in my mind, I have all this nonsense. So what is samadhi? Well, in order to really understand samadhi, we have to understand what the mind is. Mind is the awareness of the flow of thought. Scriptures will say there's the prakasha, the light of pure awareness, which then illumines vimarsha. Is that a Hindi word as well?
I think so.
Means deliberation or the movement of thought. Can be sense perception, memory, feeling, thought, images, anything in the field of perception. That's what the mind is. If we remove the vimarsha, what's left is the prakasha, the pure light of awareness. So what Maharaj is implying here, if you can slow the mind down enough, so one thought arises and disappears, and there's a space of silence before the next thought arises. In that space, we can sometimes call these fleeting samadhi. If you're attentive, meaning the attentive faculty has to be introverted, you will notice the no thingness of yourself. I'm not good, I'm not bad, I'm not virtuous, I'm not vicious, I'm not stupid, I'm not smart, I'm not fucked up, I'm not fabulous. Chidananda Rupaham. My nature is bliss conscious. The scriptures call this pratyabhignanam, the recognition. This is realization. And it's transformative, not to the self, but to the mind. What is the difference between Amma and some poor bloke living in a bush around the lake? I tell you, the self in her and the self in the fellow living in the bush is the same. Nobody lacks the self. But her mind is no mind, and his mind is misery. That's the difference. Now, people experience this space between thought all the time. You see someone spacing out. What were you thinking? Oh, nothing. I was just spacing out. But it doesn't liberate us because the attentive faculty is extroverted. You're sitting there at work on the computer and you go, oh, you space out. Your mind comes back. What did you realize? Computer screen. So it's not only that cessation of the vimarsha, it also has to be with the attentive faculty introverted. So you notice the knower. This is why Maharaj, find out who you are. Bhagawan, find out who you are. Shankara, find out who you are. Atma Vichara. So what about energy work? What about being a vegetarian? What about doing seva? Knock yourself out. Hopefully, it helps to achieve chitta shuddhi, purity of mind, because you need to have a very quiet, subtle mind to notice the knower. It's profound, but it's very subtle. Any thoughts on this?
Just one thought, it's kind of recurring-
Speak up so they can hear you.
Just one recurring thought, in what you said, although I could just like sit back for a long time without any words. It's, I've always heard the description of mind as a stream of thoughts. But what I think I heard you say was like the awareness of the stream of thoughts.
But awareness is not a function of your mind. Awareness is you.
This is what I wanted to check in about, is like if there was a relevant distinction to be made there.
No,
Okay,
no.
okay,
You do not have awareness like you
No.
have a thought or a feeling.
okay.
You are awareness. And words fall short. We only call it awareness in relationship to I'm aware of something. When the something goes away, it's only, I'm making sense.
Mhm.
If the mind itself were aware, then what do you have? Consciousness one that's aware of consciousness two? Excellent question. Excellent question. All right, going on.
Your difficulty lies in wanting reality and being afraid of it at the same time. You are afraid of it because you do not know it. The familiar things are known, you feel secure with them. The unknown is uncertain and therefore dangerous. But to know reality is to be in harmony with it, and in harmony there is no place for fear. An infant knows its body, but not the body-based distinctions. It is just conscious and happy. After all, that was the purpose for which it was born. The pleasure to be is the simplest form of self-love, which later grows into love of the self. Be like an infant, with nothing standing between the body and the self. The constant noise of the psychic life is absent. In deep silence, the self contemplates the body. It is like the white paper on which nothing is written yet. Be like that infant. Instead of trying to be this or that, be happy to be. You will be a fully awakened witness of the field of consciousness. But there should be no feelings and ideas to stand between you and the field. Questioner. To be content with mere being seems to be a most selfish way of passing time. Maharaj. A most worthy way of being selfish. By all means, be selfish, by foregoing everything but the self. When you love the self and nothing else, you go beyond the selfish and the unselfish. All distinctions lose their meaning.
Let me stop there if I may. So I hear a lot of people today talking about I'm learning to love myself, meaning they have put their individual well-being on a back burner because of super ego. I should do this, I should do that. I'm supposed to take care of parents. I'm supposed to take care of husband or wife. I'm supposed to do this, that, and the other thing. And I neglect my own self-care. Isn't that kind of the way the psychotherapeutic world would look at it today?
Yeah, it's like,
Would that you would really love yourself. It doesn't mean a bubble bath. Yourself is bliss consciousness. If you have the courage, even momentarily, to let go of the world and all of its concerns, And let the mind come home to the self. This is Parama Prema. This is the supreme love of God or the Guru. Brahmananda Rasa Swad, the taste of the juice of the bliss of love. Atmaramana, reveling in the sound. Now listen carefully. That may not be available to you much yet. Why? Because of your mind's habituated extroversion into the world. I love people, places, things, and situations more than I love God. But what am I really doing when desire and object of desire become one for a little itty bitty moment? The mind comes home to the self. I get just a little drop of that Brahmananda rasa. But because in my ignorance I think it's the person or the situation, and I want to repeat it, I go after it, and then I get struggle. And it's the struggle itself that's so painful. What's it like to want something you don't have? And the further away it is, and the more you want it, the more painful it is. Krishna says, everybody is always only seeking me, just by the wrong methods. I want more money. No, what you really want is Krishna. Oh, I want better sex. No, what you really want is Krishna. I want a peaceful house, peaceful home life. No, what you really want is Krishna. I want a meaningful job. No, what you really want is Krishna. You just don't know it. And the tradition doesn't say don't have home or partner or job, but just don't expect it to deliver something that it can't. It's like saying, I want light to move at a different speed. You want it all you want. I'm going to pray to God to change the speed of light. How successful will that be? I want something in the world to give me meaning and purpose and unending happiness. Buddha. Oh. It's not evil. It's not bad. It's just stupid. Any thoughts on this? But ignorance is powerful. And when one of these defilements, these kleshas arises, it pulls the mind and it keeps pulling the mind. And what does yoga say to do? Just don't do something. Stand there. Just don't do something. Sit there. But it's so painful. I want. Yeah. I want it. I want it. Oh, doesn't that suck? Aren't you ready to be finished with that pain? Don't feed it. Don't feed it. We have a dear friend, our friend Vishwa, who's gluten sensitive. How long have you known Vishwa?
Long time.
Yeah. How long did she go with trying to figure out what was wrong with her digestion, her tummy?
Many years.
Yeah. Celiac disease is very rare in Indians. It's not something ethnically that tends to afflict Indians. Struggled and struggled and struggled. Some people, oh, it's all in your head. The poor girl went through that sort of stuff. Finally, I don't know how she discovered. Was she finally tested for it?
I think so.
Yeah. Well, guess what? You're gluten sensitive. And I bet if she's like most of the people who are gluten sensitive that I know, I have a stepsister and brother-in-law who are both gluten sensitive. Their daughter is celiac. They're just mildly sensitive. But in the beginning, especially, they wanted to eat donuts. And then they get a bellyache. Finally, when you see the cause and effect relationship, you develop the desire to be free from the desire for gluten. Making sense?
Mhm.
That's just a small example of the world. What does it feel like to want something you don't have? It sucks. Your mind tells you different job, different house, different person. Yoga says, no, you have an addictive relationship with the world. It's the wanting itself that's causing you to suffer. This does not mean we don't take prudent action. For example, all your craziness with your potential but roommate. Remember her? You know, I'm not saying that you should not have taken the actions that you did, but you did not have to ever experience any upset around it. Do you see the distinction? It's very subtle. You may have taken the same actions, but out of kindness, but clarity. No, this isn't going to work. You're going to have to do something else. And your mind is at peace. All right, going on.
When you love the self and nothing else, you go beyond the selfish and the unselfish. All distinctions lose their meaning. Love of one and love of all merge together in love, pure and simple, addressed to none, denied to none. Stay in that love, go deeper and deeper into it. Investigate yourself and love the investigation, and you will solve not only your own problems, but also the problems of humanity. You will know what to do. Do not ask superficial questions. Apply yourself to fundamentals, to the very roots of your being. Questioner. Is there a way for me to speed up my self-realization? Maharaj. Of course there is. Questioner. Who will do this speeding up? Will you do it for me? Maharaj. Neither you will do it nor I. It will just happen. Questioner. My very coming here has proved it. Is this speeding up due to holy company? When I left last time, I hoped to come back. And I did. Now I am desperate that so soon I have to leave for England. Maharaj, you are like a newly born child. It was there before, but not conscious of its being. At its birth, a world arose in it, and with it, the consciousness of being. Now you just have to grow in consciousness, that is all. The child is the king of the world. When it grows up, it takes charge of its kingdom. Imagine that in its infancy, it fell seriously ill and the physician cured it. Does it mean that the young king owes his kingdom to the physician? Only perhaps as one of the contributing factors. There were so many others, all contributed. But the main factor, the most crucial, was the fact of being born the son of a king. Similarly, the Guru may help, but the main thing that helps is to have reality within. It will assert itself. Your coming here definitely helped you. It is not the only thing that is going to help you. The main thing is your own being. Your very earnestness testifies to it.
So let me stop there. The guru there are two great classic images, like a gardener who does a bit of pruning. But my favorite is the guru is a midwife. What does the midwife do? She was not involved in the conception of the child. She has nothing to do with the birthing. Keeps an eye out. Helps a bit in the delivery. But the mother does the work. Maybe the baby does the work. Or probably more realistically, nature does the work. You know Aishani, don't you? Yes?
Yes.
She had a baby yesterday
Yeah. Nice.
after 60 hours of labor. I bet after 20 or 30, I've changed my mind. I don't want to have a baby. Can't do that.
Oh.
Yeah. Can't do that. And what does Shankara say? You know, he's one of my spiritual heroes. Success in spiritual endeavors is entirely due to the degree of the qualifications of the student, becoming adhikari. Other factors such as time and place, and talking about what we've been talking about, even the guru, while important, are fundamentally secondary. So how many times have people come to see Amma and they have minds like bricks, full of desires and bad habits? And being in the presence of a true master might do a little good, maybe. But if someone is really ready, I don't know. I don't think Amma had a guru at all, did she?
No.
Yeah. She was ready to wake up. She did so as a child. All right, going on. How much more in this chapter?
About a page.
Okay, we'll make it then.
Questioner. Does my pursuing a vocation deny my earnestness? Maharaj, I told you already. As long as you allow yourself an abundance of moments of peace, you can safely practice your most honorable profession. These moments of inner quiet will burn out all obstacles without fail. Don't doubt its efficacy. Try it. Questioner. But I did try. Maharaj. Never faithfully, never steadily. Otherwise, you would not be asking such questions. You are asking because you are not sure of yourself. And you are not sure of yourself because you never paid attention to yourself, only to your experiences. Be interested in yourself beyond all experience. Be with yourself. Love yourself. The ultimate security is found only in self-knowledge. The main thing is earnestness. Be honest with yourself, and nothing will betray you. Virtues and powers are mere tokens for children to play with. They are useful in the world, but do not take you out of it. To go beyond, you need alert immobility, quiet attention. Questioner. What then becomes of one's physical being? Maharaj. As long as you are healthy, you live on. Questioner. This life of inner immobility, will it not affect one's health? Maharaj. Your body is food transformed. As goes your food, gross and subtle, so will be your health. Questioner.
Let me stop there. So the body is nothing more than a grossified form of the mind. For example, do you incarnate into a dream? Are you in the dream or is the dream in you? So your dream body is a form of your mind. Your gross body is nothing more than the same, just a slower vibratory level. So, peace of mind is the greatest contributor to health. As above, so below. This doesn't mean you don't want to eat sattvic food, get proper exercise, bathe. But you can do all those things, but if you have an anxious mind or a angry or vengeful heart, it will be hard to maintain health. Any thoughts on this? Going on.
Questioner. And what happens to the sexual instinct? How can it be controlled? Maharaj. Sex is an acquired habit. Go beyond. As long as your focus is on the body, you will remain in the clutches of food and sex, fear and death. Find yourself and be free. That's the end of the chapter.
Now, let's talk a little bit about sex. Your sex powers are God-given, not to be despised, but not to be taken lightly. If you are married, you have a duty to your spouse. All of the rishis were householders. Celibacy is far more a gift than a discipline. You all hear that? Turn your heart and mind to the infinite. And whether or not you're supposed to be sexually active or not, it will all straighten itself out. But if you, out of willpower, choose to be a celibate, and you're in a relationship and your partner's upset about it, or even worse, then you spend all your time thinking about the sex you're not having. Go get laid, get it over with, and then go on about your love for God. Any thoughts on this? it's simpler. Being brahmachari. There are energy things that happen, but they're not nearly as consequential as what happens with sincere self-inquiry. Right, anything else, any thoughts? We'll end here, right on time. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Sri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om